Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
Season 9 of Shine with Kendéll Lenice is sponsored by, Your Unhealed is Showing, Healing Purposely and Aging Fearlessly. This is the new book by Kendéll Lenice. Make sure you go to Amazon.com and get 2 copies, one for you and one for a friend. Nothing better than giving the gift of healing to yourself and someone you love. While you're over at Amazon, don't forget to leave a review on this book. It's so important. All right, that's it. That's all. Welcome to Shine with Kendéll Lenice. God bless y'all. Welcome to season 9 of Shine with Kendéll Lenice. I'm so excited for you all to experience season 9. It's all about healing. Healing is the root to so many issues and troubles that we have in our lives. So we are going to tackle healing as the pinnacle of this season of Shine with Kendéll Lenice. And it goes along with my new book that's out. Your Unhealed is Showing. A lot of us are experiencing our unhealed showing. Some say that's their personality, but oftentimes it's the unhealed that's showing that causes so much conflict in our lives. The trauma, childhood trauma, adult trauma, marriages, divorces, friendships, family, so many different issues that we're experiencing in life are because we haven't healed from them. So this season on Shine with Kendéll Lenice is going to be all about healing. Make sure you tune in every time you see this podcast posted. So you know what you got to do. You have to subscribe to this podcast. We are everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Audible, YouTube, and so many other platforms. Make sure you tune in to season 9. It's all about healing, y'all. This is Kendéll Lenice, the Remix Coach. I have been a certified life coach for more than 20 years. All right.
Hey, everybody, it is Kendéll Lenice, the Remix Coach. That wonderful lady that you just heard speak, who was happy, was trying to tell you about her. That her is me. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, I am a transformational life coach as well as a healing and aging coach. I've been doing this work for 20 plus years. Again, this is season 9 of Shine with Kendéll Lenice. For everybody who's been rolling with me for 9 seasons, thank you so much. All you new listeners, I appreciate you immensely. Let's get right into the show. As always, well, first, I just want to check in on you. How are you? How's it going? How are you doing? For real. How are you doing? I know people ask that often as they're passing you, and they don't stick around to really find out how you're doing. I really want to know. Definitely reach out to me, KendellLenice@gmail.com, KendellLenice.com, Kendéll Lenice, all social media platforms. Inbox me, message me, let me know how you're doing for real. So many people say they care, but then they don't stick around to listen. So I really want to check in with you to make sure you're doing well. Okay, so today's show is all about Heartbreak. This is the Heartbreak Hotel. Y'all remember that song with Whitney, Faith Evans, and Kelly Price. Heartbreak Hotel. We've all experienced some type of heartbreak in our lives. Some of us can get over things. Some of us cannot. Some of us allow the pain of heartbreak to take over their whole lives and they're unable to function. And some people can understand it, learn from it, and move forward. So as always, let's start with this week's Life Note. All right, it's time for this week's Life Note. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, this week's Life Note. The Life Note is a saying or a quote that gets us through the topic of this episode, through the rest of the week, or through your life, something to hold on to. This Life Note is by Steve Maraboli. Don't know who he is, but I like the quote. Letting go means to come to the realization that some people are a part of your history, but not part of your destiny. Read it once more. Letting go means to come to the realization that some people are part of your history, not a part of your destiny. That's this week's Life Note. All right. So we're talking about heartbreak. Now, as we know, there are so many different types of heartbreak. You know, you have heartbreaks in families, you have heartbreaks in friendships, you have heartbreaks at jobs, but we're going to be talking about romantic heartbreak today. As I stated in the beginning, season 9 is all about healing, and it's accompanying my new book, Your Unhealed is showing. As a healing coach, I see so many people that need healing. And I get messages all the time, or if I'm coaching or speaking, people will talk about subjects like these, or if I'm scrolling down social media. So what I've been seeing is it's difficult for a lot of people to get over heartbreak. It's almost like they've had this whole life planned out and what they wanted and who they wanted it to be with and who they wanted as a part of their lives. And now they're no longer there and they don't know how to deal or how to cope. I'm seeing that often. You know, you have some people, they cope by dating one person, then the next person, then the next person, then the next person. They don't give themselves enough time to heal. Or they jump into another intense relationship right after the heartbreak, and then that doesn't work. Rebounds, often don't work if you haven't done the work to heal. And then you have some people who say, I'm never going to get into another relationship. I don't want to date them anymore. I don't want to get married. I don't want to be engaged. I don't want to, because they're shell shocked, pissed off, angry, most importantly, sad, and the unhealed shows by how they speak. Even if they say, I'm good, their actions show that they're not good, or some of the words that they say, I don't need a man. I don't need a woman. I'm just going to be single for the rest of my life. That's hurt because of the heartbreak. Now you have women out there breaking hearts and you have men out there breaking hearts. Just know this. All the breakups and all the heartache is not coming up void, because you're still going to grow. You're still going to learn. I know you ain't trying to hear all that if you're trying to heal, but every heartbreak or every breakup is not a bad thing, because you can rebuild your heart by healing your heart. So even though it feels like your heart is broken into a million pieces, it's just really bent a little bit and maybe a little bruised, and you have to heal. With any bruise, it has to take time to heal. Say, for instance, you broke your leg and your doctor advises you to stay off your leg, to rest your leg, to elevate your leg. Don't walk on the leg for a day. Don't do what you normally do for 12 weeks or what have you. But you just say, okay, well, I feel a little better. Let me go walk on the leg. It's not fully healed. So then you hurt your leg even more. And now you have to take more time off your feet to rest because you didn't follow the order to rest and to heal and to tend to the ache, so to speak. That's the same thing with heartbreak. If you jump right back out there after your heart was broken, then you may be the one that breaks someone else's heart just out of your defenses, right? You may not even want to be able to take someone else seriously when it comes to a relationship. Now, everybody wants companionship. No one wants to be out in the street alone, no matter what they say. Nobody just wants to be hanging loose, single without a relationship or companion, or, coupled up or booed up, or a friendship, whatever it is. So people have kind of closed themselves off, men and women, because they're fearful of getting hurt. Now, I was looking at a website, insight.ng, and they had an interesting article. It's called Why Some Kinds of Heartbreak Are Inevitable. So when I was reading this, I was like, yep, sometimes they're God ordained. Sometimes they're not even meant to go the distance. And sometimes you can see it a mile away and it's inevitable. You can't tell someone whose heart is broken, right, to just get over it and move on, because it's difficult for them. It's not easy for someone who is in the thick of the heartbreak to look past the heartbreak. They think they're never going to go over it. And sometimes it's not the fact that the person left or walked out. A lot of times, y'all, I'm going to keep it real, it's the ego. Like, how dare they leave me? Or how dare they do this to me? Or how dare they? And it's the ego talking, instead of saying, you know what? It's that person's loss. I'm a beautiful soul. If that person can't see it, then, and women and men, you have to look at it in that way. And I know it's difficult, but everything is not meant to last. Some things are meant to go the distance, but some relationships are just not meant to go the distance. And you should respect someone else's opinion or view or decision if they decide that they no longer want it. Now, if they do you dirty, if they, cheated and connived and, did some nasty things to you, then that's time to heal from that too, and not even hold that, because you can't live a productive, healthy life holding on to garbage. You have to release that. And if you believe in God, you have to give that to God and to heal all those broken pieces and parts. It's quite simple. But Insight NG, Why Some Kinds of Heartbreak Are Inevitable. We're going to take a quick break. Be right back with it. Thank you for shining with me, Kendéll Lenice. If you're here for the very first time, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the show and don't forget to tell your friends and family about Shine. We'll be right back. All right. So why some kinds of heartbreak are inevitable. Let's see, before I even read them, if you can think about it. Why do you think some heartbreaks are inevitable? You think of anything? All right. So let's get right into it. This says, there is no more to human nature than the everyday interaction we see, right? And it asks, are you presently in a relationship? Are you on good terms with your partner? Or have you recently suffered a kind of heartbreak in your relationship? Perhaps the answer is yes. And it goes on to say, in this article, you're going to learn about different types of heartbreaks you cannot escape. But how do you find your way around them? So let's get into it. 6 kinds of heartbreaks you can't escape in the relationship. Number 1 is interesting. It was all a facade. It wasn't real, y'all. Someone can pretend to love you. Someone can pretend to be with you. Someone can be manipulating you. Someone can just be with you to maybe gain something from you. It wasn't a solid, real relationship. To one person, it could have been a solid, for real relationship. But to another one, it may have been all a game. They played the games with you. They strung you along. They made you feel like they were with you and they really weren't. That's a hard lesson for a lot of people. Number 2 is, I don't want a relationship. Amongst all the kinds of heartbreaks, this is a particular one that can land you in the hospital. I don't want a relationship. That's what it says. You shyly comply because you don't want to break their heart. And to be honest, there's somewhere deep down inside that you don't want to break your own heart, it says. So, someone may be forced into a relationship and not want a relationship. And then they get into the relationship to go through emotions because maybe they don't want to be alone, or they feel like they need a relationship to move to across the country, or to move to the next level, or because they want to join their job, or because they're in a religious space where they're forced to get married, or someone may become pregnant and they don't want to. So they really don't want a relationship, but they get into a relationship anyway. Anybody know anyone that way, where they don't want the relationship, but they get in anyway because they're told by their parents or family that they have to get into a relationship? Then when it doesn't work out, somebody's heart is broken and they don't know why. And then also, betrayal is a different type of heartbreak. Another kind of heartbreak people experience is the pain of being betrayed. When someone you trust so much betrays you or lets you down, you feel the hurt. Even though you might have gotten back at a person, you still feel hurt. And it's so interesting because people feel like, you see it on different shows, you see it in people in real life, where people feel like, okay, I will feel less pain if I hurt them like they hurt me. You're never going to win in that way, where you try to make someone's heart hurt because they hurt your heart. That's not the proper way to handle it. But most people don't know the proper way to handle it. They just want to stop the pain, and they feel like if they hurt someone the way that they hurt them, then they'll feel better. And if you're a true blue good person, then you feel bad for hurting someone else. If you have no conscience or no moral base, then you're going to continue to keep trying to hurt someone. And then ultimately that's going to come on you. Another type of heartbreak is finding out somebody cheated on you. That's a big one for many people, where they come into the room, they discover their man or their woman maybe in bed with another person, or they walk up on them at a restaurant and they're with someone eating, or they see them out and about, or they pick up the telephone. That's old school. Remember on certain movies, they pick up the telephone the other end. You can't really do that anymore. But going through people's phones and different things like that, you discover someone is cheating on you. Everybody's not heartbroken with that. Some people are devastated and can't pick up the pieces. And then some people stay and say, okay, well, that's not a deal breaker because of this and that. But some people cannot function. I was watching something, I think it was on TikTok, maybe Instagram, I can't remember, but it was Oprah and her best friend, Gayle King. And they were on the stage, and I guess they were telling the story, or this was part of the show. They were talking about when Gayle King's divorce ended. And Oprah was saying, you handled your divorce very well. And Gayle King started talking about, it's kind of easy when somebody cheats on you and you find them. So Gayle King's husband, y'all, was cheating in her house, in her bedroom. And she came home and they were butt naked in the bed, in the act. And she had no idea. Oprah was like, I kind of had an idea. Gayle was like, people say the wives are the first to know. Wives know. And she said, I didn't have a clue. Oprah said, one time I was at your house and I answered the phone. And this woman was on the other end asking for your husband and said that they worked together. She said it kind of made me think about some things, but he cheated on her. And of course, she had 2 children. She was devastated. I can't even imagine walking in. One of my friends experienced that. She went to go stay away to assist a friend, one of her friends who was going through a hard time. And she said, I'm going to sleep over her house to make sure she's okay, because she was really having an emotionally difficult time. So she was living with her fiance at the time. They were living together. So she got all her stuff and she went to her good girlfriend's house. Well, she forgot something at home and she went back to her house she shared with her fiance, and she caught him in the act. She was devastated. And of course, I don't understand why people say it's not what you think. But if you're sitting there naked with somebody, what else is it? Are you playing Scrabble? What are you doing? You know what I mean? But people always go for that. And, that's devastating for some people. People find it difficult to trust after that. The heartbreak is real when it comes to that. And people don't know how to handle or get over that type of heartbreak. I'm looking at this article and it's talking about how do you get over heartbreak? What do you do to get over heartbreak? How do you become happy again? What can I do to get over heartbreak? Now every level of heartbreak is different. And as we talk about romantic relationships, if you're together 6 months, the heartbreak might not be as devastating as if you were with somebody 10 years, or if you were with somebody 20 years, or if you were with someone even 2 years, if you're dating, for that long, or the level of commitment. It could be something where it may be just as bad if you're with someone 6 months. If you see that person every day and you and that person are close, you do everything together, you talk on the phone, you text all day, you go on dates, you see each other on a regular basis, and you're with each other more than you're with anyone else. And you've had relationships where you've had 2 months or 2 years or 5 years, and you didn't see each other as much. So the time invested and maybe the vulnerability given, or maybe you thinking it's the last one or this is the right one, and then you get your heart broken. It's hard to get over, where you think about a song, or you think about a movie, or you think about a saying, or you think about a joke or a laugh. Everything reminds you of that person. So this article also has 4 ways to get over all kinds of heartbreaks. And I'm doing this show because I was speaking to someone who just was having a hard time, and I didn't know the person. They inboxed me, a hard time getting over a breakup. She had a breakup 8 months ago, about 6 months ago, 6 to 8 months ago, and she's finding it difficult. She can't eat. She can't go to work. She can't function because that's all she's thinking about. But the thing with that is the person moved and didn't ask her to come. Moved across the country, didn't ask her to come, and she's devastated. Cut off all conversation, everything. And she doesn't know what to do. Her heart is broken. So I was trying to help her through that difficult time by just, she has to really get back into her. She has to not blame, because that's the first thing men and women do, start blaming themselves. And sometimes the person blaming themselves, it might be something that they knew that they'd done wrong. But if you're blaming yourself and you feel like you've done nothing wrong, if you've done everything that you could do, then you can't blame yourself. You can't hold on to people if people want to leave. That's the hard facts of life. You have to allow them to leave. You don't want to hold on to somebody that don't want to be held on to. You want to be able to have a clean break and leave. That's how you can start to heal. If you're still in both spaces, emotionally and mentally, it's difficult to be able to heal. So you have to figure out what's going on, with you and why. You allow your heart to break. Allow it to break. Allow it to break into a lot of pieces. You have your moment where you're crying and snotting and why me and figuring it out and please God. And you can have your moment, but allow it to be a moment. Don't allow it to go into years of feeling bitter and angry and sad, and you're not able to open up and to be vulnerable with anybody because you're afraid of getting hurt. Let me tell you something. You're going to get hurt. No way around it. In relationships, you're going to get hurt. Relationships, intimate relationships, are the most intimate and most vulnerable spaces. It's a total different vibe. You know, when you have a relationship, a partner, a committed thing going on, and you're opening up yourself to be hurt. But you can't allow that to stop you. As long as you strengthen who you are and strengthen your muscle in as far as who you are as a person, right? And you're healing and you're doing the self-work and you're becoming stronger emotionally and mentally just for yourself, each heartbreak is not going to affect you as much where you're paralyzed and can't move out of a situation or even a bed because of it. It'll take you less time to heal. You get what I'm saying? But that's just the work that you have to do to strengthen who you are. So you have to learn to picture all kind of physical injuries, right? As I talked about the leg. It takes time for things to heal. Think about when you hurt yourself, you sprained an ankle, or you got a cut, or you got stitches, or you stubbed your toe, or whatever it is that you've done physically, and how it healed. That's the same way your heart will heal. You have to take the proper steps to tend to that wound. Your heart is no different. But if you don't, now, let me say this. Some people have a heartbreak. I think about my aunts and uncles that were married 60-something years, right? 60-something years. I have 2 sets. The first set, my uncle died and my aunt was still alive. The second set, my aunt died and my uncle was still alive. Now that was some heartbreak. Being with someone for 60-something years, you're seeing them every day. You're married. One was married, I think, 66 years and 65, or 66 and 67. It was like a year apart. And people say, well, you can die from heartbreak. It's true. It's true. And it's not to minimize that. But those, I honestly think they don't know how to function without the other person. They don't want to function without the other person. And I think that's how the other person ends up dying as well. They just give up. They have no reason to even want to be here. And it happens a lot where you hear people say it all the time. They died of a broken heart. Or when people lose their children, permanently. And they're unable to, and that's a different type of heartbreak. So we're not talking about that because that's totally different. But when it's romantic relationships, it's heartbreak can honestly lead to bad health conditions. And that's real. I was reading that and doing investigation and doing research for the show. And I was like, wow. Like the doctors say it could really lead to health conditions, bad health conditions. So you want to make sure if you're having trouble. Now, if it's just, and this is the thing, so I don't want to make it too light and I don't want to make it too deep because everyone's in a different area. Now, if you're just crying and you're hurt and you're still able to function and move and do what you have to do, your just heart is feeling that, then, definitely take the proper steps to heal Whatever you're doing, continue to do it. If it's getting the goal is for it to get better every day. Will you have relapses where some days you're just crying? And of course, but if you feel it's progressive and it's getting better each day, you're on the right track. Now, if you've had a heartbreak and it's been 2, 3, 4, 5 years and you can't get past it, I pray that you seek help, counseling, therapy, coaching, all 3. Talk to your doctor. Try to get some help because it's unhealthy. If it's still 5 years and you're still brokenhearted because of a breakup. We're not talking about a death, just a breakup. Then you want to definitely seek help. Being patient as well. Knowing that, it's going to get better each day. You don't want to harm yourself or harm your body. You want to still be able to do regular activities. Now, this article is saying eat regularly, sleep well. This will ensure that your blood pressure doesn't rise unnecessarily. If you feel like crying, then cry it out. Don't pile up your tears so you can ease yourself. It says also keep busy. You can work all day to make sure you don't continue to think about the breakup. And if you continue to think about the breakup, it's saying that you may activate the emotion and you're unable to kind of bring it back down. Next in this article, it says stay happy. The perfect way to control all kinds of heartbreak is to stay happy. I heard you say it is impossible, but it is quite practical. It's natural for anyone with heartbreak to turn into a recluse. Guys, that recluse that you can be if you don't want to go out, I don't want to do nothing, I don't want to see nobody, I don't want to be, because your heart is broken. However, the trick to staying happy, it says, is to do things that make you happy. What are those things that lift your mood? When you see them, surround yourself with them. Also, get support from your family and friends. One thing you should never do when going through any kind of breakup is to keep quiet. Silence and loneliness paves the way for depression. Depression is not good for your health, Share your problem with your close friends or siblings. You can even talk to your mentor, an older person who you can confide in, it says. You want to be able to, and call it. Like Iyanla used to say, call a thing a thing. If your heart is broken, say your heart is broken. Like my heart feels broken. It feels like it's, I expected this relationship to work. It didn't work. And now I don't know what to do. But again, you have to monitor your heart and monitor your time. If you're still feeling this way over a heartbreak 10 years ago, you really have to seek help because that's not healthy. And I guarantee you, if your heart is still broken because you lost a loved one, and I'm not talking about to death, I'm just talking about to breakup, and you still can't get over it, I guarantee you it's affecting your health in some type of way. So, tips for a broken heart from psychcentral.com, and we're going to wrap this up. Take time to grieve. If possible, try to think of the loss of the relationship in the grieving process. Give yourself time. Do not find someone new right away, as I said earlier. The best thing we can do is try to honor our emotions, not judge our emotions. I love that. Validate your emotions. It may help you reframe your thoughts. So reframing your thoughts is really thinking about, okay, how can I word this in a different way? How can I make this negative, what I'm thinking is a negative experience, a positive one? By saying, you know what, like, what did I learn from that relationship? What did I learn about myself? What did I learn about other people? How did I come out that relationship better? Or how did I come out that relationship recognizing me better, or understanding me better? Or how can I go into the next situation, treating myself or treating other people, whatever it is, try to reframe it by a lesson. Number 2 on their list is find a new source of joy. when you make time for self-inquiry and self-reconnection, that can lead to a connection of peace, joy, or inspiration, but put on hold during the relationship, or was put on hold during the relationship. So y'all know how some people are when they get into a relationship. They forget all about their hopes and dreams. They forget about what they like to do. Oh, you like pizza? I like pizza too. Oh, you like to go to the movies? I like to go to the movies too. Oh, you like museums? I like museums too. And you got lost in the sauce of that relationship. You put everything in your partner's hands. Whatever they like to do, you like to do. They don't like fish, you don't like fish. And you forgot what brings you joy. And so sometimes relationships have to end. Your heart has to break in order for your heart to be rebuilt and stronger than it was. So find a new sense of joy. Number 3 on this list, make a list of what you like about yourself. Love that. When you are feeling low about yourself, consider making a list on all good things you did for your partner, your past partner, or all the qualities they liked about you and all the qualities you like about yourself. Gives an example. For example, I made him or her coffee in the morning. I picked him or her up from the train station when it rained. These are their examples. I put on his or her favorite song when they were sad. I reminded them about their dad's birthday. So when looking at this, I'm like, okay, thoughtful. That's what I see. Considerate. Wonderful. And sincere. That's what I see when I read those. So think about if you were that way with someone else. Do more of that with you. You want to make sure that you know that you are enough. You are not your mistakes that you made in a relationship. And maybe there was no wrong decision. Because people be like, I should have never, da, 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 da. You cannot unring the bell. Whatever happened in the relationship already happened. You can't unring the bell. What you can do is learn from the relationship, whatever it gave you, whatever it didn't give you, whatever you learned, and keep it pushing. It's not as easy, but you can do it. You can do it. Number 4, acknowledge thoughts about your former partner. You are experiencing in them and they are passing through your mind. You observe them. You practice observing and letting them go. So you don't act like they never existed. You observe them and then you let them go emotionally and mentally. Number 5, express your needs to others. We talked about this a little earlier. Try considering your needs at the time and let others know what you're dealing with. Hey, I've been dealing with this breakup. It's difficult. Can we talk? Let's go to the movies. Let's go to a comedy club. Hey, I need to get out my mind for a minute. Let people know, because you can't expect help if you don't let people know what you're dealing with. I don't want you home crying, moping, sad, and you have good friends out there, good family that can help you through this time to help you get over that. Think about a heartbreak you had years ago and how you thought you never were going to get over it. And you got over it extremely well. Think about those times. That's what you really got to do, guys, is think back where you thought your heart was broken. Think back to elementary school. Think back to junior high school. Think back to high school, college, your early 20s. Think back where you thought your heart was going to be, your heart was just broken. I could think back to some times where I was like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. My heart is broken. When you're young, it's all dramatic and you just think, and it's real. Like your heart is hurt and real. But then you get over it and you don't even remember the people's last name. You can get over it. But you got to take the lesson and learn as you're getting over it. It's not going to, what the Bible said, trouble don't last always. It don't last always. Number 6 on their list is turn your attention towards others. When the pain of a breakup is too hard to bear, you may find that focusing on needs of others can help bring feelings of well-being and distract you from the focusing on yourself. That always works. When you are of service and do for others, even if you are sad, even if you are unhappy, even if you're going through an emotional moment, if you do for others, it does lift you, guys. Number 7 on this list, allow emotions to flow. We talked about this a little earlier. You may find it helpful to talk to a trusted friend. If you're not comfortable sharing all your feelings, consider writing them down and meditating on them. I'm big on that. Journal. You can engage, in different projects like painting. I painted today. I painted I felt, because that's great, like therapy for me is just painting. So I painted today. It just gives me a sense of calmness and a sense of peace, to create anything, whether I'm writing, painting, just doing anything creative, creating, projects. Like, it just gives me a new life, right? Also find relief in exercise and movement, I should say. Number 8. So, of course, exercising, walking, riding a bike, skating, working out, aerobics, whatever it is, that will give you. And then also, healthy exercise is an outlet to manage your feelings and anxiety, sadness, stress, and all of that. Exercise is great for that. Number 9 on this list is to avoid activities that remind you of your ex. Because you ain't going to get over heartbreak if you keep doing stuff or stuff that keeps reminding you of the person. You're never going to be able to get over that. If you continue feeling overwhelmed with emotions, consider staying away from places or musics or people who remind you of your ex while you're trying to get over it. And number 10 on this list is make a meaning of the breakup. Make a meaning of the breakup. So let's talk about that. If possible, try to make a meaning of the relationship ending or accept that there's no meaning to why it ended. Over time, you may come to realize that the end of your relationship was ultimately in the best interest, in your best interest. However, it is possible that you might not be able to find the positive in the relationship ending, but try to have faith and keep moving forward. So you may not, and that's the realistic approach to it. You may not find positivity in the ending. You may not find positivity in that relationship, but don't focus, y'all, on that relationship. Focus on loving yourself through it. Even if you're the one that made the mistakes, still forgive yourself, y'all, and really find what you can find about you. Because I think what people do is often look at the other person, right? And the heartbreak. They did this to me. They broke my heart. They made me feel this way. And sometimes you just got to look at you and love on you and, pray about it and just really take the time to become a better, stronger, more powerful version of you. Men and women, everybody goes through heartbreak a time or 2 or 10 in their relationships, in their lives. That's just a part of life. And it's not about stuffing the hurt or the pain down. Acknowledge your pain. Cry. I don't believe in not crying. Cry. Let it out. Acknowledge. Call your feelings. Name your feelings. Get mad. Get frustrated. Get sad. Go through all the emotions. That's completely normal. Just don't stay there. You will rise again and you will love again. This time in a healthier, whole way, because you're healing yourself through the breakup. That's the best way to heal, is through difficult times to heal yourself, heal your heart. But you got to feel first to heal second. All right, let's go with this week's wow moment. This week's wow moment. Takeaways from today's show. All right, so this concludes the show. Tell me, what are some of your takeaways? What kind of takeaway did you have today? My takeaway for today's show is everything is back on you. And it points back to you. Not being your fault points back to you, but the only person you're in control over is you. You're only control of you. That's the only person that you can control in the scenario when you're dealing with someone else. So focus on you. It is not selfish to help heal yourself. It's not selfish to say, I'm going to be about me. That's very healthy. Because if you give someone else your power and you allow them to crush your spirit or to break your heart in a way that it's non-repairable, then you have to look at you and say, why? Why do I want this love so much? Why do I want this relationship so much? You have to go to the root of things. So my takeaway is point your finger back at you and do the self-work. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening. If you can leave a rating, please do so. If you can leave a comment, please do so. If you want me to talk about something this season of healing, email me at kendélllenice@gmail.com. Also, for more information about me, go to kendélllenice.com. Remember, you are a star. Don't allow anyone to dim your shine. I'll talk to y'all soon. Happy April! Hello, April. Abundant April. Amazing April. Astounding April. What else? All the A's. Tell me your A for April. And we're going to manifest that and pray on all of that. I pray that you have an amazing April. I'll be back to you this month. Don't worry. I ain't going to leave you hanging in April because I want to hear all the amazing things that you're doing after your breakup. All right, y'all. Peace. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Kendéll Lenice. And also go on over to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Again, thank you so much for your support. God bless y'all. Peace. Thanks for listening. This has been a Kenny Lynn production.